Good evening, sports fans. My name's Crobat for the win, owner of the Los Angeles Nidokings. This week we have week 3 of the GBA. It's against Nick Superblah of the Boston Red Sox. We traveled to Boston this week, pumped, ready to go beyond belief. Game planned so much for this game. I'm psyched and ready to go. I can't even describe it. Let's just jump into the match right now. So I actually got all 6 of the members of his team right for predictions this week. I knew we were going to see the Milotic Hippowdon core. That was, I think, the most important discovery in my part, or planning on my part, rather. He leads with the Thundurus, as I lead off with the Empoleon. I'm going to go into my Salt Vest Tangrowth, which is going to absorb that Volt Switch so well. He's going to go into the Scizor, which is going to Mega Evolve. Of course, I'm going to switch out and go into Gliscor, who's going to have one heck of a last game here, because we actually traded Gliscor for Slowking with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes, Gliscor is probably objectively better than Slowking, but if you look at my division and look at who I have to play 6 times, the 3 others in my division, Slowking has a extremely good matchup. So it was too much to pass up. So we're going to go with Slowking instead of Gliscor going forward after next week. But anyways, this isn't the time to talk about that. He goes into Kyurem. I'm not a big fan of Kyurem, so I brought in the Salt Vest Mew just to take it on with Drain Punch, so I can easily regain health against the Kyurem. That was exactly what I brought it for. I go for the Energy Ball, predicting the switch into Milotic. That was a good switch on his part. I'm going to go now for the Fire Blast, because I hope he doesn't see it coming. I do go for the Fire Blast as he goes into Milotic, which was more good thinking on his part, I suppose. Milotic is going to be the... If I can get rid of this Milotic, and if I can get rid of that Thundurus, I can pretty much finish the game with Mega Scizor. Mega Pinsir, sorry. I'm going to go into Empoleon, because I know it could take on this Roserade at this point. It could take a Sleep Powder. It's the only thing I really want to go to sleep. And who knows, maybe if I get lucky, I'll get the first turn Wake. That would just be the greatest thing in the world. And what do you know?
Boom shakalaka.
We've got our very first boom shakalaka for this match, as I'm going to set up Stealth Rocks. I know that they are vital to this game. One of my win conditions is getting rocks up and letting them stay up. So I'm going to go into Mew because I know it's my best Kyurem check. I thought there was a chance he might sub, so I just was going to go for the Drain Punch. No reason to overpredict. I see sub, why not? Get some health back. He's going to go for the Ice Beam, which does 40%, and I'm going to make a bold prediction. Fire Blast!
Coming along in this league. Manning under heavy pressure. Is this a live ball? It is. Flags come down and appears to be covered up by the Redskins. As Peyton Manning comes back, you see clearly the ball is out.
So that was one not that great of a prediction on my part. I thought he'd go into Mega Scizor there. Didn't quite work out. Oh well, not the end of the world. I'm going to go for the Drain Punch this time because it's not a huge reason to overpredict. I'm going to get some Stealth Rock damage on that Thundurus, which is amazing. I'm going to get a little bit of health back, which is always good. I'm going to have to switch Mew up because I know it outspeeds some stuff, and I'd like to keep it around a little while longer. I'm going to go into Tangrowth. I didn't expect the knockoff totally. It was in the back of my mind, but I figured if anything had to be knocked off, Tangrowth would probably be the only thing I'd like to be knocked off. I also, if you went for the Volt Switch or Hidden Power Ice, I could have taken those any day of the week. He's now going to go into Kyurem, which is perfectly fine, because I am going to go for a Rock Tomb with my Tangrowth. It hits, lowers his speed, it's going to get into a range where Stealth Rocks will KO. So Rock Tomb did its job this week. That was good game planning on my part. I'm going to go into Entei because I'm expecting the Ice Beam. I know Entei is very bulky this week, so I know I can take an Ice Beam, no problem. get some lefties back, and he can't switch at all. I'm going to go for the Sacred Fire. If I didn't want to go for the Extreme Speed, in case maybe for whatever reason decided it didn't want to KO or something, but Sacred Fire KOs, no problem. Goes into Milotic. Not a fan of that. Milotic is the only thing that just absolutely can ruin my team if I don't play carefully here. I'm going to set up a sub because I'd like to see what he's going to do first. I'd like to try to set a Toxic up, because this is Toxic Entei. Toxic with Sub, Extreme Speed, and Sacred Fire. It's not that great against Milotic, but if it's already behind a Sub and I can set a Toxic up, then that's really good. That's better matchup than regular Entei, like a Choice Banded Entei locked into Sacred Fire has, that's for sure. Anyways, I'm going to go into my Empoleon, which is also vital for this game, because it checks the Milotic through and through. There is literally nothing Milotic can do. I can't do much to it as well, but I do carry the knockoff this week, so I can go for it to hopefully just knock off its leftovers. Unfortunately, he is actually going to predict that. Gonna go into Mega Scizor. You know, not the end of the world. It gets a little bit of damage. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to go into this Gliscor now, because it basically is a counter to Mega Scizor, a complete counter. Does absolutely nothing as Mega Scizor is sitting there doing well. No Kyurem anymore, so I don't have to worry about it, which is amazing. He's going to go into the Thundurus. I'm not a big fan of that. I haven't seen the HP Ice yet, so I'm going to scout it, go for the Protect. There's literally no reason not to. I'm going to get some Poison Heal as well, so I'm pretty much back at full health. I'm going to switch out now. Go into Entei, my bulky Entei, so even if he decided to be risky and go for a Volt Switch or a knockoff or something, it still wouldn't do very much. At this point, I know if I Extreme Speed right here, if he decides to Volt Switch, he can't switch back in. So I'm just going to go for the Extreme Speed. There's no reason not to. Lives on a couple HP. I go for the Taunt. I mean, he goes for the Taunt, which is the greatest thing that could have ever happened, actually. Because now I can just Extreme Speed again. That thing is gone. And I'm getting so hyped right now. High five, everyone!
It's been spectacular.
Or something like that. So Entei's sitting at very nice health right now. Over 300. We're doing good. Milotic is here. The one thing that Entei can't basically touch, for the most part, I'm going to switch out. Go into Empoleon. The one thing that basically counters Milotic for days, or at least checks it. I can't really do much to it, but oh well. That's another story for another day, because we're in a Scald war, because he's going to go for Scald, see how it speeds, and I'm going to go for Scald after, hope for maybe fish for a burn. I mean, I know I'd rather get Toxic on it, but if I could get a burn, maybe predicting Mega Scizor, or if I still get a burn on that thing, it's not bad either. So I don't get the burn, he gets the burn, which I am actually really happy about. That's going to seem really weird, but when you think about it, this thing also checks his Roserade very well, especially because I have a suspicion that it might be a bulkier Roserade. Maybe not fully invested in special attack, or at least not Life Orb or anything. I mean, that was my suspicion, based on his team structure. So that means Empoleon basically walls it, or checks it anyways, which means now he can't go for Sleep Powder on it, which is amazing. Now I'm going to switch into Mew at this point with the Assault Vest, switch in on the Scald or the Ice Beam or whatever. He gets a crit, not the end of the world, probably would have 2KO'd with whatever he had anyways. My goal is to get this Milotic as low as possible, so that's why I just fodder off Mew by going for the Energy Ball. Mew did an excellent job this game, even though it got no kills. It got a lot of momentum in my favor. It was very versatile. I think I caught him off guard, so the best that I could anyways, so can't complain. You know, it did a good job. I'm going to go into Mega Pinsir, get the return off. It does about 40% to that Hippowdon. I like that damage. That's good to know for later, but I definitely can't 2KO, and if I were a wizard right now, then I would think I'd be predicting a Stone Edge. It looks like I'm a wizard because I can go into Tangrowth on the Stone Edge. Does pretty much nothing because Tangrowth still has great defense, even though it has an Assault Vest. He's going to switch out because I'm sure he doesn't carry an Ice Fang or an HP Fire or Ice. Yeah, that'd be really stupid. But he goes into the Roserade now. I predict that. HP Fire does a nice chunk of damage. That was really good, actually. That worked out so well. His Sandstorm's going to hurt him. That's even better. I'm going to predict the Sludge Bomb or the Sleep Powder, so I'm going to go into Empoleon to take either. it really doesn't matter at this point. Sandstorm's still up. I'm going to see some burn, but that's quite fine. I really don't care. I know he's going to go for the Leaf Storm. I know it. So I'm going to go into Mega Pinsir to take it, which X4 resists it, and it takes it so well. Roserade now is -2. It can't do anything to Mega Pinsir. I can go for the return safely, even if he went into Hippo. That doesn't matter, because it'll 2 KO at the range he's at. He goes into Mega Scizor now. Not a huge fan of that. I could probably KO this thing with a return. I probably could. There's no reason to risk anything, though. I'm going to go into Gliscor and just do Gliscor things. Wall and Mega Scizor. He actually gets a crit, which I guess at the end of the day doesn't matter. And I'm going to go for Fire Fang, because I carried Fire Fang on this one. Still does 40%, not a lot, but I just wanted to have a way to hit Mega Scizor really well. It was a big X4 weakness, so I figured I'd carry it. It worked out so well right there, because now it only survives 2 more rocks entry, 1 more rock entry, and any damage I get plus rocks basically means on a switch it's dead. So that's very important right there. That Fire Fang. He goes into Milotic, which I was pretty sure he would. I have to go into Entei. I was kind of hoping to maybe fodder it, but if I could get a Toxic off on this thing, I'm doing very, very well. First Toxic goes, it misses. Okay, not the end of the world. I can hit the next one because I know I'll live one Scald. This is a very bulky Entei. We got the next Toxic going in, and
this is embarrassing.
okay, so 2 Toxic misses. I'm not a fan of that at all, because that extra damage would have been really important to Tangrowth right here. It's at full health, it's got plenty of special defense EV, so I know it can live in Ice Beam very well, and it does 45%, which is great. Giga Drain's going to get some health back as well. It does 30-ish%, so that's important. I'm going to go for the Giga Drain now. I thought he'd probably go for maybe like a Mirror Coat or something, or an Ice Beam again. Whatever happens, happens. Mirror Coat does a lot, because he does go for it. And now the Ice Beam comes my way. Look at the damage he's at, though. That little sliver. If I just had the Toxic off, I could have saved Mega Pinsir. I could have saved Tangrowth and made this a 4-0. But unfortunately, if only one of those Toxics hit. But oh well, not the end of the world. We still got a game going on here. He's got the Hippo and the Mega Scizor left. I've got Mega Pinsir out on the field, but I'm going to switch out because I don't want to take a Stone Edge. I'm going to go into Gliscor, which literally counters this Hippo because it does not have Ice Fang. I'm pretty sure it doesn't anyways. EQ, Stone Edge, probably Slack Off, and I'm guessing Stealth Rock. I'm going to go for the Toxic with Gliscor. He does go for the Stealth Rock, which I'm going to, like I said, assume his 4th move is probably Slack Off, because I don't know any Hippos that don't carry Slack Off. Gliscor's sitting very well right now. There's no question about it. Gliscor can win this game as long as it spams Earthquake and gets consistent damage off on this Hippo. Just a little bit every turn, just some chip damage. That's all we really need. And he's going to reveal that Slack Off. I think at this point he's kind of prolonging the inevitable. So I'm not totally sure why he did that. But once again, it's not the end of the world. He's going to switch out into Mega Scizor, I guess, to just reset the Toxic counter. It's going to die to my Earthquake, which is awesome. So that's Mega Scizor down. Gliscor gets a KO in its last appearance. And not only is that Hippo of the Toxic, but I could just wear it down with Earthquake. So essentially, Gliscor, at the end of the day, in a minute or two, will net a second KO. It's going to take a while at this rate. He actually gets a crit with that Stone Edge, too. It only does 20%, which is pretty laughable, so that crit literally didn't matter in the slightest. He's thankfully not going to do Slack Off stalling, because that would just be really silly. He's just going to go for Stone Edges to maybe hopefully amass a triple Mega Sniper crit that does 400% damage or something, but that's not going to happen. Hippo is going to be worn down slowly but surely by the Toxic and my Earthquakes. We've got one Earthquake there, and next turn will be the best turn of the game, obviously. I don't know what to say. I'm in shock. I have 3 Pokemon left. I need to EQ to win the game. And I do. I just won the game versus the last year's champions. Nick. Super Blah. Wow. So it was a great game, definitely. I'm very happy with how it went. I'm very proud of all my guys, that's for sure. I game planned like crazy for this week, and I think it paid off, that's for sure. Once again, I found his core that would resist a lot of the things that I have on my team, and I think it paid off by having enough to take on Milotic and Hippo. And here today we have a special guest, Mr. Bart Scott, a former New York Jet. So, Mr. Scott, what are your thoughts on the LA Nido Kings' victory over the current champs of the GBA?
For all you non-believers, anybody can be beat. All we hear is about their defense. They can't stop a nosebleed, and we the one to get disrespected.
I see. Do you believe that this victory was an upset?
We're just ready to come back and show what type of defense, what type of team this was, what kind of character we had. We take a lot of slack. People gave us no chance. We're a good team.
Oh, I know what you mean, man. I don't think anyone predicted the Nido Kings to win going into this week. So, in general, how do you feel after such a strong victory this week against the champs?
Felt great. Poetic justice. We know we were a much better team than we came up and represented ourselves, and we're pissed off. Anybody can be beat.
Listen to the man. Anybody can be beat. I don't care what the pundits say. Anybody can be beat. Thank you, Mr. Scott. So next week, we're going up against the Denver Bronzongs. Yeah, they're in our division. Yeah, they've had a rough start to the season. That doesn't mean a darn thing. Because going into it next week, we're going to treat it as if they've never played a game. We've never played a game. Forget this win. You know what? It's 0-0 going into next week. Because we're going to be ready as if it were a home opener. We have everything to prove this season. We are the LA Nido Kings, Season 1 champs. We have everything to prove. We're out for a title again. And you know what? We're going to do our darndest and do our best to get that title again. We're going to win as many games as we can. We're going to go out there next week, give it our best, and with the guys I know we have on this team, I know that we have a great chance at victory, and I know that we have a great chance at winning a title again. We're bringing it back to LA. We're going to do our best to bring it back to LA. That's really all I have to say this week. I'm very proud of all of my guys this week. It was a great win. I'm just so happy. This was great. Can't celebrate too much though. Like I said, big game next week with Denver. So we'll see you at Denver next week. Peace out.